Bebe Miller has been making dances for more than 25 years and has had her own company since 1985. Miller visited the University of Washington to work with the members of the Chamber Dance Company as they rehearsed her work, Cantos Gordos, that they will perform in concert. During her stay in Seattle, Miller described her style and her method of working with dancers.
Is there a Bebe Miller technique? Not officially, but I think that there are things that I gravitate to. And after working with particular dancers for a while, I realized that we develop a shorthand of approach in how we improvise together, how they catch movement for me. I'll stand in front and I'll kind of say, it's something like this. And that there is a weight pattern, a shift of weight, a gesture, not an alphabet so much, but just as a way of fashioning the body, that whether it's a technique or something, it's a particular manner. Style, maybe, but it's a manner of moving through space. And so I find that when I'm working with newer dancers, new to me, that we have to kind of figure out how we're going to translate that, translate our approaches. And that's always really fascinating for me as a choreographer, as a dancer, as a teacher, just trying to figure out what's our common language, what's our common sense of how the body moves in space and time.
For Miller, directions to the dancers are less literal, more a matter of tapping into the dancers' imaginations.
There's a lot of play in the sense that I'll ask them okay, there's a march section, so I'll say, okay, not just move your feet and march, but think of a cheerleader. And so that there's something else that happens in the body, and I don't think the audience necessarily says, oh, that's a cheerleader, but that there is an attention that taps into their own cultural, iconic memory that I'm relying on. So we throw in movie titles, whatever it takes, whatever kind of imagery so that people, the dancers feel really that they're dancing out of their own vocabulary, their own sense of the world, their own imagination.
Cantos Gordos, set to live jazz music by Don Byron, was originally performed in 1994. It was set on the UW Dancers by former Miller dancer Heidi Henderson, after which Miller came to put the final touches on.
And so I think my job is to span between the old work and the new, but I'm also looking at, well, what do these other dancers bring? What are their talents? There are a couple of points in the original choreography. I remember, like, what did I do that for? I don't know, what is that? And so here's an opportunity to change, choreograph. I mean, that's what I do. So I'm not to be trusted in keeping things in their original form.
There was a time when choreographers of Miller's stature were known as martinets, but she says that is changing.
Dance tradition has had a lot of egos that felt like the only way to get something done was to shout or be mean or humiliate people, and I mean, dance isn't the only form that does that, and I don't see the point. I think it's interesting. I mean, I think contemporary dance is still, really of the last 50 years, and you see also an evolution of how people treat each other. All those self-awareness workshops kind of worked on choreographers too, and what kind of a citizen do you want to be, both outside of the studio and inside of the studio? And I feel like why not just ask people to work on the thing between us? We're all invested in building this thing to the best of our ability, so that's the room that I want to be in.